So yeah, I'm talking on behalf of Siemens Healthineers. Siemens Healthineers is a global medtech company. We are offering the full range of portfolio, what you can find in a hospital or lab, like from CT scanners and up to lab diagnostic equipment that is, I think, in the current times very, very needed. We are a global player, so we are serving over 100 countries, having a revenue about 15 billion euro, yeah, around 160 years. So we could say that we are kind of like a dinosaur in our industry, but still we are looking to be innovative and as well as utilizing new technologies. Let me talk a little bit about Knime, if I can change the slides here. Yes. So we are using Knime in the context of sales analytics. And as I said, our challenge is we are active in most of the countries in that world. We have huge challenges getting all the different data pieces together and having a governed and reliable and easy to use reporting across like our entire organization. So if we talk about sales analytics, we speak about funnel data, quote data, financials, customer data, which is a very exciting topic, installed base, like our installed fleet of equipment. And in the past, we have provided analytics centered in dashboards. So we had dashboards that had definitions that were serving as certain use cases. And what we achieved with Knime is that we basically took out all the logic and we separated all the logics from the visualization, as well as we separated the data storage out from the logic. And with this, we achieved a much more flexible environment. So we could really now enable data as a service, which is basically that our users can use our dashboard that we centrally provide, but they can also build up their own stuff if they need it, working on the same kind of data without breaking any, without breaking any or getting out of the system. They are still working in the same environment. Centralized and governed data logic is a very important piece. If you talk across the globe with different people and you want to talk about the same thing, that is important in analytics. We have interest in integrating this whole data pipeline into our data catalog. And from my team's perspective, I think the biggest achievement is that we could move into a low-code environment instead of having scripting on SQL databases or something like this. So that was kind of like the starting point that we had roughly a year ago when we looked at Knime and we also looked at other competitors. In the end, we decided for Knime because with Knime we believe that we can cover a lot of things around data analytics, data management, and data pipelines, right? So we are integrating multiple databases in the cloud environment, integrating Oracle databases, Microsoft databases. We're even now looking at Snowflake database. We wanted to manage our data pipelines in terms of really low-code workflow scenarios. I mean, you all know Knime. That's excellent for that, of course. We wanted to get a huge repository of functions that the software offers in terms of data cleansing, rules, rule engines, mappings, but also we want to have the freedom to use or to have a seamless integration of coding if needed. So for instance, our whole SQL database, the whole like data definition, the whole table creation, the whole index creation, everything that is also facilitated through Knime, as well as we use certain data science pieces by integrating Python into those workflows. Now, of course, this is just about Knime, but about the cloud environment. We have set up Knime in an Azure cloud environment. We started with a pay as you go version. Now we have a dedicated license, a dedicated server. We're also using multiple executors in that environment, and the real easy thing is to connect it to other cloud services like Azure SQL, Microsoft database, or an Oracle database in the cloud. You get great, data exchange rates. Speed a very, very big advantage, as well as you can easily integrate it with your Office 365 environment, and as well other cloud solutions. So that is kind of like our setup. We use Knime, and also we use SQL databases to store the data in the cloud environment. If we look at the journey that we have done, we started with Knime as a data management tool because our biggest need was to get all the different logic that was sitting in multiple dashboards into one central place, govern that, centralize that, putting that on a more, putting that into the cloud to have more compute power essentially, and shorten the time on how this data updates take place. We are now tapping more and more into the topic of data science, which was, of course, on the agenda very, very early. But now I think it plays nicely out to have this integrated environment, because also we could, for instance, look at integrating Databricks clusters or something like this into solve some problems. And some problems that we have around sales analytics and data science is the key question: what is a good price for our customers? And of course, it makes sense if you have intelligence mechanism behind that value. Okay, what is the customer situation? What is the configuration? What does the customer already have? And then come up with matching algorithms or clustering algorithms that can give you a recommendation. For instance, what is the good price that you can achieve with that customer? And that's just one little example taken out. Another big challenge is if we think about a digital twin of the customer, and you wanna integrate external data with internal data. How do you do the matching of external data to internal data? Because most likely it will not match. So fuzzy matching, as well as scoring of certain data elements together, that is something that we want to look into. And ultimately, where we want to head to is using Knime and having Knime integrated with tiny little apps and tiny little assistants for our salespeople to give information as they need it and as they request it, instead of feeding them with data that they most likely don't need at all, right? So next thing, if you look at what we have achieved, as said, we have integrated Knime with our data lake infrastructure. We are now as well looking into integration with Snowflake environments. We are scraping data we have started to scrape data from the web that is all flowing into that environment. We are crunching a lot of data on a regular basis, up to 4 times a day. We have different needs now while we're integrating more data sources to be more flexible in those schedules, and ultimately we feed the data as data as a service toward different user interfaces and reach basically our sales force and our sales managers around the globe. What we like about the idea of having this deployed in a cloud environment is, of course, the topic of scalability, that you can really launch multiple executors for multiple purposes. Or if you, for instance, have a very heavy calculation that you only do once a week or something like this, you can scale with that need. And as well as now, as we're integrating more data sources, that is as well something that plays out nicely here. And of course, the cost benefit is something. If you want to try things out, if you want to ramp up new ideas, pay as you go is a great way to start without having a big upfront investment into further infrastructure or further servers or something like this. So I think that's what I wanted to share. It's an interesting journey we are in. I think we've made a very good progress with the help of Knime and the team there to make this vision true for us, and now we are ready to build on it in an even larger scale. Jim?
Thank you, Marcel. Hey, can you start sharing your screen there?
I can.
Yeah, thank you. and I'll join you. Well, you said my favorite word, Marcel. We have to talk about scalability. So, how do you see Siemens benefiting from the scalability that pay-as-you-go provides you, especially with Knime executors?
Yeah, so there are two aspects of scalability. The one aspect is, of course, that, like, if you think about a corporate environment, we are a sales analytics department within Healthineers, but there is maybe as well another need in another region for, I don't know, SCM or something like this, or PLM environment. They can now just start working with Knime instead of we have to provide a huge corporate infrastructure. So it can grow as the demand in the company as well grows. And the second aspect, which is more closer to my heart, is that if we have a need of integrating another data source, or if we have, we want to do some heavy data crunching just to try out some algorithms and stuff like this, we can just switch on another server and let it run there without interrupting our entire production environment. And that is a huge benefit to as well help us to decrease the, let's say, the time to market for any analytics product.
Excellent. Those are two great use cases. Thank you. Okay, Greg, any questions from the audience?
Yep, we do have one.
Great.
You showed us how you're using Knime to integrate different data sources. And the questioner is wondering how Knime is integrated in the organization with other applications, in the sense of Knime is being used from within other business processes, or from within other pieces of the organization within Siemens.
Yeah, so I think integration towards other applications, we currently have built some Power Apps around Knime as well to trigger certain things, or to trigger certain tasks. So the topic of REST, of course, is important here. If you remember, we still have the vision to integrate Knime into our operational systems a little bit further in the future, but that's, I think, not yet around the corner, because I think we are not yet the full experts on that. But I think the idea is that you trigger analytics workflows for a certain question, and that comes up with an answer very quickly to the person that needs this answer. So, for instance, if you think about any chatbot solutions or bot solutions where you can request an insight and it's calculated on the fly for you, that could be one thing.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Marcel. It was so nice meeting you through this process, and thank you for being here today and presenting, and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thanks for having me, and enjoy the summit as well. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.